you guys, it's Heidi and welcome back to today's list. You guys have been honestly waiting for this list for, I want to say, a few weeks now, but today I'm going to give you guys a huge list of 22 rock and roll inspired names. Yes, I know that there's like the Bowies, the Lennons, Elvis, there's Presley, there's Ziggy, Marley. There is honestly a ton of absolutely amazing names in this category, but I'm gonna give you guys a few alternative and different options for you guys than the ones that maybe you hear more often. But the amazing thing about this category is majority of rock and roll inspired names are unisex, so it really is an easy name category to name if maybe you're having a surprise baby or you're wanting a gender neutral name. This is kind of like your realm, especially if you're wanting something a little bit more edgier, but I did find some amazingly sweet options as well in this category. So make sure you guys are subscribed, make sure you guys are hitting that bell notification down below so you guys don't miss any of my baby name lists. Also go follow me over on Instagram, it's at Baby Name Sunday. I'll have it right here and I'll also have it linked down in the description. So let's get into this list. To start this list off, I'm going to start off with a boy's name, and that is the name Chet. So spelled C-H-E-T. This one's actually a short version of the name Chester, but I actually got this one from Chet Atkins, which is actually one of the top 100 greatest guitarists of all time. I think he's at spot 21. He has also influenced a lot of rock and roll bands like the Rolling Stones and also the Beatles, especially George Harrison, who is a part of the Beatles. And the name Chester is English originated and it means fortress or camp. But I have just been loving this one. I feel like it's a really great alternative to Chad, but Chet, it has this really cool, almost like a Jet vibe. It's like Chad and Jet, you know, combined, Chet. I really like just how short and curt it sounds, and I definitely feel like it sounds like a rocker inspired baby boy's name. Moving to the next name on the list is the name Morrison, so spelled M-O-R-R-I-S-O-N. This one's actually a Scottish, ancient Scottish surname, and this one's obviously inspired by Van Morrison. He's been on the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and he's really well known for his hit single Brown Eyed Girl. But Van Morrison has one of our favorite family albums called Astro Weeks. You guys have to go check it out. Literally, we bump it all summer long. It's our basically summer playlist, and we absolutely love that album of his. But love this. I think Morrison sounds like a really strong and powerful boy's name, especially for it being like a surname for boys. It has that masculine vibe to it and very, very handsome. And that's how come I want to add it to the list, because it's not too edgy, but it's still rock and roll inspired. This next one I am just loving. I've loved him for so long, oh my word, and that is the name Zappa. So spelled Z-A-P-P-A. Yes, this is derived from Frank Zappa. Honestly, I have listened to Frank Zappa ever since I was little. My dad would always be playing him, and he is just so diverse with his music. He's a self-taught musician. He would literally create different types of sounds and put it all into one, and he is just one of the greatest rock and roll stars, I feel like, of all time. His last name Zappa is Italian originated, and his kids have the coolest names, and just in their family have some of the most awesome names that definitely gave me inspo when I was little. I would be like, wait, Dad, what was their kids' names? Oh, they're Dweezil Zappa, Moon Unit Zappa, there's Diva Zappa, there's Amit Zappa. There is so many, and now they're having kids, and they're kind of following the tradition as well. Oh my word, I just find that the names in this family are so cool. I feel like just Zappa is so unique, so fun, and I feel like it has that kind of peppy vibe to it, and he definitely made a stamp in rock and roll history. Moving on to another unisex name that I feel is really either or. I personally probably would choose this for a girl. I think it's really fun and different, and that is the name Motley, so spelled M-O-T-L-E-Y. So obviously this is derived from the Motley Crue, which is the rock band back in the 80s. Motley itself means diverse, and the reason why they're called the Motley Crue is because I guess back in the day, one of their friends kept referring to them as the Motley Crue, like, you guys are such a diverse, quirky crew. So they're like, oh, let's do it. So they named themselves the Motley Crue. They changed a little bit of spellings, just made it a little bit more funky, but I am loving this. I think it sounds so cute for a little girl. Even for a boy, I think it's so sweet, and I really feel like this is a great addition to this list. And then another great addition to this list is this boy's name, and that is the name Hendrix. so spelled Hendrix. I seriously couldn't go through this list without having Jimi Hendrix in it. He is known for his creativity on the electric guitar, and his career literally only lasted, like the bulk of it, for 4 years, and he was known as one of the most influential rockers of the 20th century. Like, he is just the king of rock, honestly. Next to Elvis Presley, he's there. But the name Hendrix is both German and English originated, and it means the home ruler, so I think it's so fitting for a little boy, and I feel like this one is definitely going to be a favorite for you guys. This next one is also a unisex name. I feel like I would more so use this for a girl, but either or, I feel like it's so sweet, and that is the name Nokie, so spelled N-O-K-I-E. So this one is obviously derived by Nokie Edwards, which is one of the lead guitarists in the group The Ventures. So he was actually on the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and then over in Japan, he is known as the king of guitars of all time. So I thought that was like a cool little tidbit, a little bit interesting backstory on him. But he got the name Nokie because his actual name is Noel, N-O-L-E, which is a French originated name meaning Christmas. It's kind of like a variation of Noel. So I thought this was really cool for maybe an upcoming December baby. Nokie, it has like subtle hints of Christmas, but without, you know, screaming Christmas like maybe December or winter. Moving on to another boy's name. I feel like this one could either go for a boy or for a girl. Davian actually would really love this for a girl, and that is the name Creedence, so spelled C-R-E-E-D-E-N-C-E. Yes, this is from Creedence Clearwater Revival. Oh my word, I literally grew up listening to their song Down on the Corner, and they were known for making a lot of hit singles. So Creedence is a word name meaning accepting something as true, so it is a virtue name as well. But I totally thought that this is such a cool boys option for the girl's name Cadence. So you can have Cadence for a girl, Creedence for a boy, and I love the nickname Creed, so that's how come I added it to this list. And then the next name that I really like for a boy as well is the name Thayer, so spelled T-H-A-Y-E-R. This one's another one that's not too far away from the top 1000s, but it's still a unique name. But obviously I got Thayer from Tommy Thayer, the lead guitarist in Kiss. They're known for being like awesome with the makeup and everything. Like, everybody has sung to or known a Kiss song. Like, I feel like it's like a staple in everybody's life. And then the name Thayer is French originated, and it's a variation of the name Taylor. So maybe if you have a Taylor in the family, Thayer would be a really great modernized honoring. But then moving to something a little bit more outside the box, hear me out, I love this one for a little girl. I think it's really super fun. For a boy, it's really cool too. And that is the name Styx, so spelled S-T-Y-X. So this is a Chicago rock band that most of you guys probably will know. You know the song Mr. Roboto? Well, that was one of their like hit songs. They were known for making really crazy performances, especially on stage. They're very futuristic, and the name Styx is actually a mythological name. It's actually the name of a river that flowed in the land of the dead in the underworld. I think this is such a cool name. If you're looking at rock and roll names, like, Styx is top one of them. I feel like it's definitely describes a rock and roll name. It has that edginess to it, 4 letters, and it's unisex for both boy or for girls. And then next name we have is a very influential name, and that is the name Bono, so spelled B-O-N-O. And then obviously Bono is from the rock band U2. I literally grew up listening to U2. It was actually my very first CD that I ever owned, so it's kind of memorable for me. Bono is known for being a philanthropist and also an activist for social justice. He spoke a lot lyrically through his songs, and he's just known for doing really great things in the world. And just U2, I feel like that is definitely an inspiring band. And then Bono was actually derived from a Latin phrase bon vox, which means good voice. So I thought this was so suiting, and obviously he did too. And he is just a really influential person in the world and definitely made an impact. And just Bono for a boy just sounds so cute. And then next name I have on the list is also another boy's name, and that is the name Elton, so spelled E-L-T-O-N. Elton John is where I got this one from, obviously. obviously, and he actually made the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 1994, and Elton John was actually one of the very few artists to remain very popular and consistently popular in the rock era. He even broke Elvis Presley's record of most consecutive years in the top 40s Billboard singles. And then the name Elton itself is an English originated surname, but also an England place name, and it's from Old English origins, meaning closure or settlement. So I feel like just in general, this is just a really cool option, and it's just a very usable rock and roll inspired name. Moving on to another name. This one is a girl's name, and that is the name Paramore. So spelled P-A-R-A-M-O-R-E. Paramore was an American rock band known for making multiple singles, and in only 13 months they went platinum and also received a Grammy nomination for the Best New Artist of the 2000s. But the name Paramore came from one of the group members' mom's maiden name, and they actually switched the ending. Instead of M-O-U-R, it's M-O-R-E. And then Paramore itself means secret lover. I think it's definitely very different and really cool for a girl. Paramore. Like I'm really loving girl names that end with more right now, even boy names. So I definitely had to add it to the list for the girl side. And she had the exact same name as me, which is like crazy. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. And this is the name AC, so spelled A-C-I-E. Obviously, this one is kind of a cutesy variation of the rock band AC/DC, which is an Australian rock band. Definitely one of those more staple bands. Man, I feel like this is like a band and music that does not get old. But AC, I thought it was just so sweet for a little girl, or even for a boy too. It's Greek originated, meaning thorny. So maybe if you have an acacia, or you're thinking of the name acacia for a little girl, AC would be a really cute nickname, or even something a little bit more unique. And AC ties perfectly with this next one because I feel like this one's super cute as well. This one is totally unisex, but that is the name Frehley, so spelled F-R-E-H-L-E-Y. I honestly did not even think of this for an L-E-Y ending. A lot of you guys actually asked me for L-E-Y ending names. Frehley, this is so sweet. And then obviously this is derived from one of the Kiss band members, Ace Frehley. So I thought that a lot of people really like the name Ace. I love it. It was actually on my short list for this one. But it is definitely more edgier, and I feel like Frehley is totally not looked upon and could be a little bit more of a softer way to honor him. And then Frehley itself, it's obviously a surname, and it actually has been used as a first name, but the spelling's possibly an Old Swiss German variation, and it's just anglicized. And the meaning behind the name is wise and sensible. So I think that those are two really great symbolic meanings for a name itself. And then next on the list is the name Arrow, so spelled A-E-R-O. This one's obviously derived from Aerosmith. They are sometimes referred to the greatest rock and roll band because they have inspired so many other artists. But they call themselves Aerosmith because they went to go see a circus performer jump out of an aeroplane, and they thought Aerosmith would be a good name. And then Arrow is also short for aeronautical. So it's kind of a cool variation of kind of like the nature-inspired name Arrow, like A-R-R-O-W, like an archer. And I like the spelling of this. I think it's kind of a little bit more different. And then moving on to our next name, this one is a unisex one, and that is the name Jovi, so spelled J-O-V-I, inspiration of Bon Jovi. They're known for holding 18, which is the most, top 10 singles, and definitely was more on the rise after their hit song, Wanted, Dead or Alive. Wanted, dead or alive. Like seriously, so good. Honestly, rock and roll, and Davian's gonna laugh at me when he watches this, but so good. I honestly grew up listening to so many of these artists that this is just like, I love it. But the name Bon Jovi is actually derived from his last name, which is spelt a little bit differently, B-O-N-G-J-O-V-I, which is an Italian surname. But Jovi itself is Latin originated, meaning majestic, and it's also one of the Roman king god's name. It's actually another word for Jovan, which is actually another word for Jupiter, which is one of the Roman gods. So it has some mythological history to it, but it also means majestic. And think that is such a really cool meaning behind the name. Jovi, I feel like, is just so sweet, especially with the 4-letter trend going on right now. Jovi would make such a good option for you. And then onto an edgy rock and roll inspired name for a boy, and that is the name Axl. So spelled A-X-L. Obviously after Axl Rose from Guns N' Roses. Guns N' Roses is honestly known for so many great hits, but Axl, I feel like a lot of parents love this name, and majority of the time it is spelled A-X-E-L, but a lot of people will use A-X-L to honor the rock and roller. But the origin of Axl gives a really great balance with the edge of this name, because it is a Scandinavian originated name meaning father of peace. With the edgy sound, I think this makes for a perfect combination of such a great name for a little boy. And then another sweet name on this list is actually the name of one of the top 100 greatest heavy metal vocalists. He's actually Canadian, from a Canadian rock band, and that is the name Geddy, so spelled G-E-D-D-Y. His name is Geddy Lee, and he is from the Canadian rock band Rush. And Rush actually got their Rock and Roll Hall of Fame title back in 2013, so it was actually not too long ago. But the funny thing about Geddy is the reason why his name is Geddy. So his actual name was Gary, but he actually ended up changing it to Geddy because his mom was Polish and she kept mispronouncing his name and kept calling him Geddy. So he switched his name to Geddy, and he's been getting compliments ever since. And the name actually broke into the top 20,000 boy names in spot 17,000 and something. And that was just like, what? No way. So it's kind of a made up name, and I just thought it sounds like a really cool name too. So thanks, mom of Geddy Lee. You did so well. And then another really great sweet boy's name that I have on this list was the name Henrik, so spelled H-E-N-R-I-T. This one was derived from Bob Henrik, which was the drummer of the Kinks, and he was actually part of quite a few other groups as well, like rock groups, but he was so underrated for how amazing he was, and he worked so amazingly hard, and a lot of other artists realized that and almost looked at him like an inspiration for future musicians who are trying to get into the musical world. He was actually known for being such an inspiration to them, so I thought that was really influential and a really great name as well. And Henrik's actually a surname variation of the classic name Henry, which means ruler of the home. And something I thought that was really cool, and why it kind of really made me want to put this on the list, was that it's kind of a variation of the name Henry and Emmett, like mixed together. So you have Henrik, and it almost also reminds me of Hamlet as well. So I thought this one was a really great variation for some of the other names out there already. And then moving on to my next name on the list, it's another boy's name, and this one completely reminds me of my childhood, and that is the name Jethro, so spelled J-E-T-H-R-O. When I was little and when I was growing up, I would always listen to Jethro Tull with my dad, and he would always show me how amazing this guy was with the flute, and the fact that this was a rock band with a flute in it. And then Jethro Tull got their name because back in the day, one of the guys, the band members, went to college, and he learned that one of the 18th century agriculturists, pioneers, was named Jethro Tull, and then it kind of stuck. So Jethro also is a Hebrew originated name meaning excellence, and I thought this was very, very suiting for such a unique style band. You have a flute in a rock band, and they made it happen. And then moving on to a next name, I have two more names left on the list, but this is the name Mercury, so spelled M-E-R-C-U-R-Y, and this one is derived from the lead singer of Queen, Freddie Mercury. I thought this needed to be on here because we are always singing in the car. It's one of Zayla's and Davian's favorite songs. We are the champions, my friends. So Freddie Mercury is known for having such amazing and flamboyant stage presence, and just in general, Queen crafted such timeless music. You can honestly listen to it at any stage in your life. And I also have to make a quick mention of Bohemian Rhapsody because obviously they are the creators of that as well, and that is also a very timeless. But the reasoning behind Freddie Mercury's name is because Mercury is actually his star sign, and in astrology, Mercury Mercury is known as the messenger god, and he thought that was so suiting because he is the messenger for great and good music and historic music as well. So it totally suits who he is, and Freddie Mercury sounds like a very spunky person in general, and his stage presence definitely made that known. All right, so we are down to our very final name, but before I mention it, I just wanted to give a big thank you to every single one of you guys out there who do watch my videos. If you guys are new, make sure you guys are subscribed. Make sure you guys consider subscribing. Every single Sunday I upload a baby names list. Sometimes I give surprise videos during the weekdays as well. So definitely hit the button if you're looking for names for yourself. It doesn't even need to be if you're pregnant. You could be a name enthusiast, you could be naming your pet, or maybe you need a name for a book you're writing. I don't know. Everybody's looking for names nowadays for whatever reason. Here is definitely the name place for you. But our very final name on this list is a band name, and this one is definitely a powerful little girl's name, and that is the name Genesis. So spelled Genesis. Genesis was known as a rock band with no cookie cutter music, and Genesis was actually one of the bands with the longest lasting lineup. And as for their band name, Genesis, their manager actually made that their name, and their very first album was From Genesis to Revelation, which is really super cool. It ties really well with the beginning, and that makes complete sense because Genesis is actually a word name meaning new or new beginning. So this is so fitting. Plus it also has some biblical ties because Genesis is the very first book of the Bible. So I thought this was a really great name to end off the list for a little girl, and I just wanted to say again, thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys have any other rock and roll inspired names, comment in the comments down below. Let me know what they are, and let me know which one your favorite was from the list. I'd love to know. But thank you guys so much. I will see you guys this week with another baby names list. Bye!